Every day's a gift. They say it, but you don't realize it. That could have been my last hockey game.
We were down in Owatonna for my son's Bantam AA hockey game, and Ryan was a coach. The game finished, and the boys were putting their things in the back of the car. We all got into the car, and he buckled up, and just as he pushed the start button to the car, he just went limp, was pulling on him, telling him, wake up, Ryan, and nothing. He was not responsive. In the meantime, my son Justin had gotten out of the car and was yelling for help and flagged down a car, and it just happened to be a mom who was a supervising nurse at the Owatonna Hospital, luckily, and she started CPR on him right away. So the ambulance came, he was loaded on, and they took him to Owatonna Hospital. And at one point I did hear him say, starting CPR, so I know he coded again in the hospital. And I know that the doctors the entire time were on the phone with the docs at Mayo.
This was a Sunday evening, and we were on emergency call. And so when our pagers went off, the whole team, as always, showed up in the cath lab. Within 10 or 15 minutes, we were basically up and running. And so from the minute he came into the cath lab, within 6 or 7 minutes, we had our diagnostic angiogram done. We knew he had one artery that had shut down completely. And so we proceeded immediately to get that opened up. Within another 6 or 7 minutes, we had blood flow restored.
The most life-threatening moment in his care was he's had a massive heart attack. The vessel has been opened, but the heart is now very stunned from the heart attack. It's not working well.
And that is when we put in a device to help with the circulation. The commercial name is Impella, but it's a small pump that pulls blood from the heart and then circulates it into the rest of the body. During the procedure, even though we had the blood pressure stabilized, we had the blockage opened up, our anesthesiology colleagues were saying that the oxygenation wasn't adequate.
And so Dr. Sandhu reaches out to the ECMO team, which is an emergent team, always available in the hospital, and they say, we have an arrest situation, come to the cath lab and cannulate. And boom, that comes to the bedside.
And once circulation was enhanced with this device, things started looking better.
All the patients, if they require that level of support, come to the cardiovascular surgery ICU. The team there is very specialized, all the way from the critical care doctors on staff, to the nurses, to the technicians who manage the machines, and that way the patient can have immediate bedside care.
The nursing staff in the ICU were fantastic. They reassured me. They made sure he was comfortable at all times. They were kind enough to let myself and the kids be in the room. Genuinely felt like they really cared.
When a patient like Ryan has these devices implanted, it's often in an emergency, as it was for him. The intention is to save their life. Now, everything we do comes with some potential complications.
Within a couple of days, it became clear that the blood work wasn't looking right, and there were things that looked a little bit concerning, so he had CT scans done. Those documented that the device that was placed initially, the Impella, was actually lying against some of the blood vessels supplying blood to his abdominal organs. And that was restricting flow and could have caused a major complication. So at that point, again, the teams came together, and this time we had vascular surgery, as well as colleagues from the cath lab, who removed the Impella, and then he underwent vascular surgery to remove the clot from these blood vessels and restore flow.
Currently, his blood flow is coming from the ECMO cannulas. Those are in his groin. So his blood flow pushing forward is actually coming from the groin and going upwards, as opposed to what your heart does, which pushes the blood flow down. That made things much more tricky for me, because even just pulling out the Impella device, I could push that clot into the aorta, and if the blood flow's going upwards, that clot could travel upwards to his brain or his heart.
And that was by far the scariest part, because I didn't know if he was going to make it out of surgery or not. And I asked, is he going to make it? And they couldn't say yes or no. And so that was one of the hardest moments. Dr. Kohlglaser met us in the waiting room and went over what had happened.
Together with the ECMO team and a bunch of cardiac anesthesiologists in the operating room, we coordinated when to turn on and off that ECMO device so that we could safely get his Impella device and his clot out of his artery and restore flow to his bowels.
She felt real confident that she got everything out, and so that was reassuring. So morning came, and he had to wiggle those toes and those fingers, and by golly, before they even asked him to do it, he was doing it. And that was when he first realized that he was in the hospital.
First memory is waking up, looking at the drop ceiling in intensive care, and asking, where am I? And I remember somebody saying, you're in Mayo Hospital, and you've had a heart attack. And I remember saying, oh.
Yeah, it was, we're getting life back, the Ryan that we knew. I don't know if many people could do what he did, to come back from being completely gone to fighting multiple surgeries, multiple flatlines. I mean, how many people can do that? He's a fighter.
And now he's had a number of things happen. The Impella was in, now it's out. The ECMO is in, and his heart has had time on its own to recover. And it takes a certain level of expertise to know that it is safe to remove the ECMO. And we'll gather at the bedside and slowly turn down that machine to see, can his heart support his body on its own?
It seemed like 10 different doctors were all in the room. I remember seeing one of the doctors in the back row, kind of with that smile, and it was that proud dad smile, like, yeah, this is gonna work, this is gonna be good.
His heart is working, the machines are gone, and so it's a sense of relief.
In hockey, we always use the phrase, we, not me, and you saw it there every single day. The nurses and the ECMO specialists, and even all the way down to the CNAs and the lab techs, they got your back.
I will be forever grateful to everyone in that hospital for doing everything that they did. They saved his life. They gave my husband back to me.
If I could share anything with the care team, you're amazing, each and every one of you. I hold each and every one of you with the highest regards. You saved my life. Every day's a gift. I get to go watch my son play hockey. I get to go visit my daughter at college. You don't realize who's in your corner until you need them, and there's more people in your corner than you realize.